What's in the Box episodes of horror with Donna and Eric. I'm Donna,
And I'm Eric.
and we're doing another Texas AuthorCon interview. And with us today, we have Richard R. Rose. Thank you for joining
Hello.
us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Happy
Yeah,
to
it's
be
look-
here.
great to get you on here. One of the
Yeah.
originals, one of the first from the first Texas Author Con. So
Mhm.
very nice.
It looks like it's. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's just nice to see you again. We haven't seen you since
same
the
here.
event. It's really cool.
Yeah, are
Yeah,
you
look forward
located
to it.
in Texas?
I used to be. I was
Oh.
living in San Antonio before I retired from the Air Force, and I just recently moved back home to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mhm.
I was going to say it looks very nice and warm and sunny. So I'm like, I wonder if that's Texas weather behind you.
I'd be sweating like a
Yeah, right.
something that sweats a lot.
Yeah.
What are the rules on this? I mean, as far
Oh,
as
you can
language and
go
everything?
as crazy as you want. It's
Okay.
fine.
All right. All right.
Yep. So we'll just start off with some fun icebreaker questions. So
Okay.
Jason, Michael, or Freddie?
Oh gosh. Freddie. Definitely Freddie.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. When we first did this, we didn't have Freddie as part of it. We did 3 interviews, and all 3 times it was like, well, I'd pick Freddie if it was on the list. So we started putting him on the list. So,
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Freddie's cool. I'm Team Freddie.
Yeah.
I'm Team Freddie for sure. Now what about vampires or werewolves?
Oh gosh. Well, you know what? It's a coincidence because the book I just released, Wild Eyed Southern Boys Dead Cold War, has vampires and werewolves as the bad guys.
Very cool.
Yeah. If I had to pick between the two, I would probably go Team Rougarou, werewolves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you a four-legged werewolf or a two-legged werewolf fan?
Two-legged. You
Mm,
know, just like they are in actual nature. You know, they walk
Yeah.
on two legs.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it gives so much more possibilities and different things,
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
and they're just a little more, I think it's a little more terrifying when they're
Yeah.
humanoid. Not that
Oh,
a
yeah.
wolf isn't scary, but I'm just like, adds a little bit extra to it. So,
Yeah, I think they're like you said, there's more opportunities with two-legged werewolves because
mhm.
Mhm.
in The Wolf's Hour by McCammon, that was a four-legged wolf, so there wasn't really much that the werewolf could do.
Yeah. And I think that's
Mhm.
why we decided it wasn't much of a horror
Yeah.
movie or book, but
Mhm.
more of a World War II book with a guy that could turn into a wolf. It
Yeah.
Oh,
was almost
okay.
more
Yeah.
convenient than it was anything else. Because then I'm thinking, he's gonna be a werewolf. He's gonna be running with he's gonna have a machine gun. He's gonna be doing all this crazy, and it's just a big dog.
Yeah.
And every time he trains, he runs. It's like he
Mhm.
basically did it to run away every time. So I was like, all right, well,
Yeah.
this is not the best. This wasn't what I was expecting. We really did not have a good time
Yeah.
with that.
But it's
Yeah.
funny, Eric, just hearing that there's more opportunities with the two-legged wolf. I'm like, that story would have been completely different if the werewolf was two-legged.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it would have been much more immersive and exciting.
Mhm.
No
Yeah,
offense if you love that book. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I tell you, I'm a fan of the bipedal werewolves, and the first time I saw that, other than like the Wolfman,
Mhm.
the old classics, the one that got my attention the most was The Howling.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
I was like 10, 11 years old. It scared the living hootie pootie out of me. I mean, I had sleep with the light on and everything for like weeks. It shook me up that bad. And now people are actually seeing things that were, that were just strictly Hollywood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's eyewitness accounts of these things all over the place. Now, do I believe in the dog man? Jury's still out on that. I'm not 100%. Bigfoot, yes, but dog man, I'm still waiting for some more.
Yeah, we need a little bit
on that,
more,
yeah.
right, before we're going to commit fully into that. But
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, well then that's funny because our next question is always, what's your favorite scary movie as a kid? And you just mentioned The Howling, but is that the one that you gravitated towards the most, or did you have something else that you really liked?
Uh, it's definitely on my top 10 list of favorite horror movies, but I'd say my favorite horror movie of all time, it has to be Alien.
Okay.
That movie scared the living crap out of me. And I talk about it in my book. Rue, the main character, he talks about Alien every now and then, gives little hints, and it's gonna play a larger role in book 4 just without throwing out any spoilers. But yeah, Alien was just that movie was just so terrifying. Everything about the movie, the setting, the atmosphere, the characters and the weird little noises that the computers made, and the alarms and everything going off, and the ship's getting ready to self-destruct at the end. It's just terrifying. It's still, I don't get scared at movies anymore. Hell, I've been shot at. Movies don't scare me, but I don't. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't like the. Gosh, where was I going with this?
The movie doesn't scare you anymore, but Alien still
Yeah,
does.
yeah. Alien still bothers me. I was
Yeah.
playing that Alien PS3 game a few years
Oh, yeah.
back, and my son, my couch was backed had its back to my son's bedroom door at the time, and every once in a while he'd come out, "Hey, Dad," I'm like,
Yeah, no, you gotta be careful when you're playing scary games, especially if you have the headset on, because people sneak up on you, screw with you. My kid does that.
Oh yeah,
The dogs and stuff. So yeah, for sure. That's and Alien is like, it holds up perfectly. It's like a perfect movie.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a big science fiction fan, it's great for that. But yeah, the elements of horror in that movie, it's perfect.
Oh yeah.
And what's
Yeah,
funny is my dad hates horror, but Alien was like the movie he'll say to everybody, you got to watch Alien, but he avoided horror at all costs. But Alien was one of those movies that he always showed people and talked about. So
Yeah, but that was sci-fi,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He always would like, oh, this is a science fiction movie, but no, it's
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the scene in that movie that really scared me was when the alien was face to face with Ripley, and you can like see the acid drool coming out of the mouth.
yeah.
That was like terrifying.
I think that was in Alien 3 when
Was
that
it?
happened. Yeah, the alien just right up in her face but doesn't rip her face off. Doesn't keep the jaws out to kill her.
Yeah. There's just so many good things with that whole franchise. So
Yeah, the whole
Oh, yeah.
franchise is great.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, some movies are better than others. I hated
course.
Alien 3. I hate to say that, but of all the movies they've made an Alien franchise, I did not like the third one.
Yeah, and the funny one is though, is you can go back and if you look deep dive into it and stuff, you find out that the reason that movie's so bad is because of the talking heads, producers and the people in charge of Fox. They ruined that movie. They would have just let him do the movie he wanted to do. I have a feeling it would have been just as good as the first two, if not better, maybe. So,
Yeah.
but he was at the time, Fincher was a nobody, so they weren't going to just let him do what he wanted to do.
Right.
I'd love to see what he would have done now with as much clout as he's got now. I'd love to see him jump in and do another Alien movie, but of course that probably will never happen because I think it left a very sour taste in his mouth when he left.
Probably. Yeah. There's an Alien TV series coming out soon.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the cool thing about Disney buying everything is that they don't seem to care about they want to produce everything. So that's what I like about that. So
Is it going to be Disney? It's going to be a Disney.
they own Fox, so
Oh yeah, that's true.
and they're about to pump out a Predator Wolverine comic book and a whole bunch of. I mean, they're just like, we own everything. We're gonna incorporate everything together, and so that'll be pretty cool. If the comic does well, I'd love to see a Wolverine Predator movie. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see anything with Predator in it. I not Predator, Wolverine.
yeah. Well, I'm a big Predator fan, so I love
Me
Aliens
too.
Predator. I think that's a great. I know the movies they're frowned upon, but that first Alien versus Predator movie is so fun.
The
Yeah,
first one was good.
Yeah,
I like
really.
the first one.
Captures everything that you love about both franchises and
Mhm.
and the same director as Event Horizon, so I'm a big fan of that guy. So
Yeah, that's a great movie too.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, if someone were to say to you, "Hey, I am new to reading horror and I'd like to get into, reading that genre," do you have a book you'd recommend to them?
Other than my books,
You
Either.
can, yeah. You can, of course, and we expect everyone
my
to
books.
say you need to read my books. But like,
Yeah.
if somebody was just like, I want to, back in the day, they were like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What would you say?
so think about just any kind of
Random.
genre or just horror.
Yeah, anything you want within horror.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I definitely would recommend Chris Filbert and his Adrian's Undead Diary series.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's a massive series because there's quite a few spin-offs. And then you got then you got the gosh, what's the oh gosh, Lackey versus the Apocalypse series. It takes place in the UK, and it's written by Carl Weathers, and he teamed up with Chris Philbrook on it. But yeah, that is an amazing series. Anything from Mark Tufo, another great author. He's fantastic. J.S. Patrick is After Z series, and Merrill David with his Wicked Awake, and some really graphically disgusting one-offs he's done with like Fester and Season Pass. I've been through all those books, so
Cool. When you were, what book got you into horror? What was the book that you I don't know, read that made you think, oh, this is the genre for me?
well, I mean, I've been a horror fan since I was a kid. I mean, since I was, way too young to watch a R-rated movie. But my dad, he made some exceptions. But I've always been a horror fanatic. I've always been a Sasquatch fanatic. I love the zombie genre, even though that's only book one is the only zombie book I've written so far. But yeah, what got me into wanting to write a book is I was not an avid reader. I listen to audiobooks. That's still what I do because I don't have time to read.
Right.
If I'm reading something, I'm like, I should be writing right now. But I listen to audiobooks when I run and in the car and everything. But the one book that brought me to that was a Father's Day gift. Several years ago, I got World War Z.
Okay.
And I was a huge Walking Dead fan at the time. I'm still a Walking Dead fan, but I was, that's one of the very few books that I've actually read cover to cover. And yeah, it got me to thinking, got my wheels to turn. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to write a book. And it still took me until I was at the young age of 47 to get started. Because I've had the idea since my 20s, but better late than never.
Right. That's impressive too, though. I mean, sometimes it does take a while to get the time to do it, to sit down and really start focusing on it. It's not something that you should be able to just throw together, right? And you've got what, 3 books out and the 4th one in the works, right, for the series? Yeah, so that's a pretty cool thing. So like you said, better late than never. But sometimes that's when you need to do it. So
right.
Do you have a favorite horror novel of all time?
Favorite horror novel of all time? Oh gosh, that's a tough one. I'm just gonna have to throw it back out to World War Z.
That's a great one too, and that's not one. It's funny because that one hasn't come up at all. I don't think.
No, I haven't heard it mentioned.
Yeah, but it's a good book. It's a whole fun. The way they did it, the way he wrote it, and everything. I think it's a good one.
It could make a great series. You could make a TV series out of it. I mean, the movies just wasn't even close.
Right.
Yeah, it shared the name. That's about it, really.
Yeah, and I think I read that they went through so many scripts before they settled on that one that they just basically washed everything out that they had from the book. So sometimes, unfortunately, that happens, especially when you have big stars attached to stuff, and then it becomes less about the what it's based on and more about Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt. So yeah, totally get that. That would be an awesome series because I know a lot of people are burned out with Walking Dead, and although the new one looks really good with Maggie and Negan going to New York,
I haven't seen
anything. I've only seen previews, but it looks, it feels like early Walking Dead.
Yeah, they're actually my 2 favorite characters in The Walking Dead, Negan and Maggie. I love them both. My dog's name is Maggie. I named her Maggie.
Sweet. Yeah, Maggie's cool. Maggie's very cool. She's in the TV show. I'm a big fan of Maggie. In the comic, I'm pretty sure I hated her guts, but it's been a while since. I know, and that's always funny how they tweak people because I can't think of her name now. The blonde-haired lady from season 1 through 4.
Andrea.
Yeah, I think she's really central in the books, but she's not in the show. And
I loved her character in the books.
Yeah, in the book she's amazing, but in the show she's instantly dislikable, and you just build off of that. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
So we've touched on you've touched on it a little bit already, but for those that don't know your books, just tell us about what genre you would like to write in, or subgenre that you write in of horror.
Well, and right now, the books that I'm writing now are pretty much, I can't just lock it down to one genre,
Right.
because it's pretty much a genre bender, really. It's horror, comedy, sci-fi, action, and and sci-fi action and alternate history. And so it's got like a kaleidoscope of genres to choose from, but it is definitely, I'm having a blast writing my current series, and I've got future stuff coming up I'll mention later. But yeah, so you want me to tell you a little bit about the series?
Yeah, if you want to jump
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
go right ahead.
Okay, so the name of my series is called Wild-Eyed Southern Boys. Wild,
There we
yeah,
go.
dash eyed Southern Boys with a Z. Okay. Make sure you spell it that way. And I'm Richard R. Rose. There is another book that just recently published called Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, and it's spelled proper spelling with no Z at the end of boys and no hyphen between the wild and the eyed. So if you see something that looks more romancy with a gargoyle on the cover, that's not my Wild-Eyed Southern Boys.
Well, it's funny
Gotcha.
because you say that because I tried to find your books on Amazon because your name, like I have Wild Eye Southern Boys on my Kindle, but I didn't remember the author's name. So I tried to look you up and I put in just Richard Rose. And I'm like, I don't think these books are the books that he's writing.
I'm the Richard Rose that's not dead.
Yeah.
There's another Richard Rose out there.
But
That's
then
He
good.
died back in 2005.
That's
Yeah,
good, or
so-
we'd have a weird podcast
Interview, yeah.
yeah, I know.
We'd be famous. We'd be famous, Eric.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, when I found out the title of the book, I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. And then I was like,
Mhm.
it's Richard R. Rose that you have to sign. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just thought it was hilarious when you said that.
Yeah, and there is another Richard Rose. Yeah, I should have maybe went with R. Rose or something just to. But yeah, I don't. I'm not even sure what that guy writes about. But if it doesn't have Sasquatches in it, it's not my Wild-Eyed Southern Boys. So,
Nice.
so with that said, the so it takes place in Townsend, Tennessee, which is just down the road from where I grew up. I spent a lot of time there. It's a small, beautiful little town right at the entrance of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. So it's right there in the mountains. And yeah, so it made for a great small town setting. In book one, we get introduced to the main characters, Ricky Rue, and his childhood best friend Buford, who is a warrior Sasquatch. And so it kind of has a little bit of a coming of age thing. They meet when they're in their early teens.
Yeah, I was
Buford
going to
stays
say
really
that.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you have a little bit of a coming of age and buddy story going on, and it fast forwards on into the future where Rue, he joins the Air Force and goes into security forces and becomes a special operations security forces operator. I was security forces, I wasn't special ops, but yeah, he comes back from a really tough deployment where he lost a guy, and goes home on leave towards the end of his enlistment, and comes home, and long story short, everything's really looking up for Rue. He's back together with his best buddy Buford, and maybe have a little bit of a love connection opportunity, not with Buford. I'm not writing that kind of book. Yeah. but so everything's looking up, but lo and behold, a zombie outbreak hits the Great Smoky Mountains. And Rue and Buford end up leading a group of human and Sasquatch survivors to fight the zombies and go after the main bad guy behind it. So that's just the gist of book one. And
That's
then
amazing.
That's an amazing setup. I love
Yeah.
it. So
No, thank you. And but then we go to the Rougarou War, a Wild-Eyed Southern Boys prequel. That was originally going to be a backstory in the sequel, and as I'm writing the Rougarou War, I decided I'm just going to write the Rougarou War chapters all together, and have that out of the way. Then I'll go back to the rest of the book.
Mhm.
Well, what happened is I kept going on. The story got longer and longer. Next thing I know, I have a full book. Yeah, I was going from like, a few chapters to I'm going to do a separate novella. And then it went from novella to an actual book. And so I went ahead and published it as a standalone book, but it does tie book 1 into book 3 that just came out. And the Rougarou War would go back to 1900 in Townsend, Tennessee, when Townsend was first founded as a lumber camp. And well, long story short, they're having trouble with their rail lines getting bent, like in a shape of a horseshoe. Who could be doing that, and who would want to sabotage a lumber company?
Sasquatch.
Yeah, our buddies in the Knights of the Red Tunic, which that's the Warrior Sasquatch cast there. Or end up having to work it out with the humans, but just when all that gets worked out, a group of Rougarous, which is werewolves from Louisiana. That's a werewolf legend down in that area. Show up and with nefarious intentions, and well, it looks like humans and the Sasquatch is going to have to team up again against a evil enemy. So that gives, and you'll see, Sasquatches, they live up to 250 years. So you'll see some of the original Sasquatch cast from book 1 in book 2. Yeah, but
Cool.
obviously you won't have Buford and Rue. They're
Right.
not even alive yet, but you have Rue's great grandfather,
Nice.
William Rue. So long story short, that's where that pans out. Then it ties directly into when the Rougarous return with vampires. Their
Oh my
old
gosh.
enemies
Just gets
on
better.
their side.
What?
And they've been planning this for 120 plus years of world domination. It's gonna, it goes completely global and off the hook in this third book that I just released, because that, so the third book is Wild Eyed Southern Boys Dead Cold War, and that's the sequel. You get Buford, Rue, and the whole gang. It returns that are, they're still living, of course, and it's just a major we expand. We go outside the confines of Townsend, Tennessee, and we're all over the world. We're in the Himalayas. We're in China. We're in DC. It's a pretty expansive story. It was a pain in the butt to write.
Yeah, I can
But,
imagine.
yeah.
It sounds epic. So, but those are always fun too. When you're done with the project, that's always fun to go
absolutely.
back and say, "Oh, look at all this cool stuff here." So,
Oh,
Yeah, I have a feeling
Yeah,
I'll be
that-
buying that entire series from you at offer.
Oh, sweet. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, no, it's impressive. It's a cool idea, and the execution is well done.
Well,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy a good Sasquatch is not the monster book.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Or
There's
having sex with you,
or having sex with you. Yeah,
Right,
that
there is
Bigfoot-
that subgenre, the Bigfoot, the sexy Bigfoot. So,
Bigfoot erotica,
Yeah.
it is a thing. But there's plenty of books out there that Bigfoot is the monster, the
Mhm.
creature, which is fine. I like that too. But I
Mhm.
really enjoy Bigfoot is not the bad guy. Like your
Mhm.
series, he's helping the humans against the zombies and the vampires and the werewolves and whatnot. So we
Mhm.
need more of that. We need more people. Eric, get on that. You need to write a Bigfoot is not a bad guy story.
I feel like it's covered. So, I'll
Yeah, I
do.
got-
I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll just send you the link.
That
and we'll
market's
go that way.
cornered.
I know it feels like it, right? So, yes, but no, I agree. Yes, we need more. We need more Bigfoot love. So,
I'll tell you what gave me the idea for the book. I said it was from my 20s. Actually, it goes back a little bit further, and a lot further than that. Maybe I was like maybe 7, 8, 9 years old. I see this tabloid at the grocery store, Weekly World News, and if you remember that, it's just
Mhm.
one of those newspapers is just nothing but bullshit in it.
Mhm.
Well, the front page article was, it shows a Sasquatch grabbing these dogs and tossing them out while this boy is like up against a tree, scared to death. And the title, the headline was "Superhero Bigfoot Saves Kid from Wild Dogs." I'm
Huh.
thinking, superhero Bigfoot. I've never thought of that. Would be cool.
yeah,
So when I came with Buford, when I was first developing the book, Buford just your average run of the mill Sasquatch. There was nothing really special about him. I mean, what has to be? I mean, Sasquatches are, you know, if they exist, which I think they do, they're like 1,000 times stronger than a human being, or like, they're like a gorilla on PCP. They're that strong. And so, really, do they really need anything? Do they need weapons, or do they need special powers or anything? They're Sasquatches. They're badass anyway.
Yep.
But what if we did? What if we took a Sasquatch and trained him in elite warrior tactics by the Knights Templar? Because the Sasquatches, they go old school. They don't shoot guns or anything. They carry old school weapons, medieval type weapons, but they can do a ton of damage with it. So you take Buford, who's a highly trained, been training all his life as a Bigfoot equivalent of special operations, and there's a whole Knights Templar backstory that explains how they started taking that warrior culture on. In the first book, we'll learn how that all came about. But so if you take a armored Sasquatch who's highly skilled in martial arts and with a big scary axe, and he can, you're talking about a badass. You got a superhero right there. He's better than Batman.
Yeah. Now, are you going to be sad when the series is done? And because you look like so excited about those characters, and I'm just thinking about when you write that final book, is that gonna are you gonna weep a little bit?
If I had tear ducts, yeah, probably. But no, but I had the story is deeply personal, really. I started writing this book, and it was during COVID in 2020 is when in August, I first started putting pen to paper. And all the characters in the book are based on family and friends. Just about everybody, except for a couple of the villains, are not based on anybody, but
sure,
that they know.
Yeah, there are some exceptions. Like Cody, he's a bad guy in the book, and he's actually my son.
Yeah.
But yeah, my daughter was disappointed because my daughter Rachel, who's a character in the book, I wasn't originally going to write her in the first book, her or Cody, because I was going well, maybe Rue and Penny will get married and they'll have a couple of kids. I'll bring them in book 3 or whatever. And my daughter pretty disappointed over that. So I was like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do then. So, long story short, I made Cody a villain. He was thrilled about that, and he even gets to kick his. Rue's he's loosely based on me. So he gets to kick his dad's ass in the book, and I told him, said, "Yeah, have fun reading that, because that's the only time it's ever going to happen." But I just lost my dad like a year prior to that. Just lost my dog Dixie, who is a character in the book as well, and which was devastating. I mean, I love my dogs, but so I needed an outlet, and I've been dealing with PTSD for years, and. I need something positive, and I've been wanting to write a book. I'm stuck at the house. Might as well, strike while the iron's hot. And so, I'm very emotionally vested in the story, because the characters are very near and dear to me, because they're based on people who are near and dear to me. So when the series ends, and I'm not sure when that's going to be, it is going to be emotional. But I will be going on to another series and using some of the same characters, just in a totally different universe.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about, it's your world. You can control everything. It doesn't ever have to end if you don't want it to. You can always jump to a new project, then come back and revisit it. And you've already set up an amazing, idea with your second book, by telling us that this stuff happened 100 years ago too. So now you have the ability to write whenever you want, about whatever you want, with these characters or something like these characters.
Oh yeah.
Really flesh that out and not get bored with it when you're doing that. So even if that ever got to a point, you're like, well, I can just switch this up. And like you said, this last book, book 3, is all over the world. So, I mean, you've opened the door to so many possibilities that this story and characters could last forever for you if you really wanted to.
Oh yeah, I can go in all kinds of different directions with the characters, and spin-offs galore, and there's a lot I can do with this particular storyline. And I'm writing the fourth book right now, and I'm writing it to where I could end the series on the fourth book on a positive note. That doesn't mean I'm going to end it. We'll see how well the series is doing. If I'm still enjoying writing it, I'm going to keep writing it as long as my readers are still enjoying reading it.
Yep.
And
exactly.
After book 4, I am going to start a new series. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break from Wild Eyed Southern Boys and go to a new sci-fi series. I'm going to write the first book in that, and then I'll if there's going to be a Wild Eyed Southern Boys 5, that's when I'll write it. But,
yeah.
Cool.
So when you are writing, do you have particular music you listen to?
No, I like it. I like it pretty quiet. I mean, if my wife's watching TV while I'm on the couch typing, my laptop, that's fine. Yeah, that doesn't really bother me. But I think music would be too distracting for me. Me personally, I know a lot of authors that do.
Well, yeah, we're getting that a lot. So it's a lot of people are dead silence. The fact that you said you could sit there while the TV was on, a lot of people are probably horrified by that. That we listen to, because they get invested in that too.
Yeah, at the beginning when you were talking about audiobooks and you were getting ready to say, or you were saying, I listen to audiobooks when and I thought you were going to say writing, but you said running. I was like, right. I'm thinking automatically. I was like, how?
Yeah, that? I am way too ADD for that. Again,
you just be transcribing the book that you're listening to.
Hey, look at this new book I wrote, and it's exactly like the one you just listened to. So,
what do you mean I'm being sued for plagiarism?
Yeah. No, a lot of people do. And Donna's a big quiet person. I like music just to drown out stuff, but usually instrumental only.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the quiet. So. Yeah, your excitement over your series has gotten me excited, and hopefully, the viewers are excited about it too, because I'm just like, your enthusiasm towards your books is very catching, very contagious. So,
I love my books. I'm not going to sit here and tout about them saying they're the greatest book ever, because that's open to interpretation. I'm really happy with the story. I'm proud of the story, and I just hope the readers enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, it'd be hard for him not to. I mean, I think your enthusiasm bleeds into the page. So, and and I think that's something that some writers forget. You know what I mean? They forget that this is supposed to be a joyful thing and a fun thing, and they're just churning stuff out, and sometimes that'll fall flat. But I can't imagine anybody finding Bigfoot and military tactics
and vampires and werewolves and
zombies and all that too.
Zombies, yeah.
I mean, really, it's such a fun idea. If you can buy into the idea, which I think most people need to, because it's a fun, thing. It's okay to turn your brain off and jump into a world where it might have all these things happening, and then just enjoy the story for what it is. And I think that comes across, and I think people will like it.
Yeah, and it's a great series for pretty much anybody, because it's got something for everybody, like we just said, so it can touch on all those, different things that everybody likes. And
well, when I first wrote book 1, I was telling people, my book has both genres. It has zombies and Sasquatches. So what else could you want? It's
right.
It's literally for everybody.
True, and then it was. I mean, zombies were still really popular right going into the pandemic, so. It feels like they've taken a hit a little bit, but like you said, you've already moved on. You're already up to the werewolves and vampires and all the other stuff. But I still think if a zombie's done correctly, it's still a great read, great watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, the zombie genre just needs to. They just need to keep the variety going. Don't just get into that Walking Dead ripoff, story, which is about 95% of the zombie novels out there. They go here, they get trapped, they can find a clever way to escape, then they go to this location and they run into humans who are worse than the dead. Yeah, it's like, okay, we got human cannibals. Oh, okay, how many times have you seen that in a zombie novel? I don't think the genre is tired and old, but I think the tropes are the repetitive tropes are just kind of making it seem that way.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
But everything's in cycles. It'll come back, and then we'll forget about all this, and then 20 years people will rediscover it, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever." You're like, "Yeah,
Right,
20
yeah.
years ago I watched all this already," but
Yeah.
it's always happens. So that's the cool thing too about it. So yeah, no, but this is definitely a great series. People need to stop by the table, check you out. And how amazing is that? You were at the first one. We were in that, I want to say, a little room. It was a little room, and there was
Right.
14 of us, and it was an amazing event. I thought that first one. We were
I thought
busy all the
it went
time.
way better. Yeah,
Yeah, it
way
was
better
really-
than I expected.
We went into it blind. I mean, I don't think any of
Mhm.
us knew what to expect, and it was a great day, and we met some cool people and had a good time. And now, what are we? 5 times the amount of authors are going to be there, and
Oh gosh,
4 times,
It's
something
huge.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be a
big
massive-
ballroom. It's going to be fun panels and readings, and I mean, this is going to be a fun event for everybody to come to. Writers, readers, people that might just be interested in getting into it. So.
Mhm.
Hopefully no clowns.
Well, you never know. You
Yeah.
never know. You
You
may
never
just
know.
open the door. I don't know. Maybe somebody's going to show up now just to spite you. So,
Yeah.
You know, yeah, one of these days I do want to write something just straight up horror. And I'm trying to, extrapolate a few ideas
mhm.
going into it, like, creepy clowns. Who's not afraid of creepy clowns, but we got It. I don't want to be an It ripoff,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to try just flat out dark horror at some point. Just right now I'm having a lot of fun, writing Wild Eyed Southern Boys, and I love the humor. I love injecting humor into my stories.
Mhm.
I want to make the readers laugh, and I want to reach out and attack all their emotions. I want them to be happy. I want them to laugh. I want them to cry. Because I'm evil that way. But
That's not evil. That's being a good author.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I'm doing that. But
Yeah. Well, awesome. So other than coming to Texas Author Con and stopping by your table, where can people find your books?
Okay. Well, you can find me on Amazon, and you can also find me on my website, and we'll provide the links later. But it's richardrrose.com. I just revamped my website and gave it a new look and added a few more features. So you can go in there and you can buy my books from the website, or it'll take you to the Amazon page for it.
Mhm.
And you can also go to my spring store where you can buy all kinds of merchandise and to meet all your Wild Eyed Southern Boys needs.
Very cool.
There's my Facebook page on it's Richard R. Rose author, and you can join my mailing list. You can join my my newsletter list on my website. There's a
Okay,
spot
cool.
where you can register for that.
Cool.
And I will be at I've done 3 events so far this year. I'll
Wow.
be at, of course, Texas AuthorCon. I'll also be at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference the following weekend in July, and then
That
Sweet.
sounds fun.
and Smoky Mountain Terror in September. And there are probably going to be some more events I'm registering for later on.
Okay, cool. And then you'll have all that information on your website so people can keep up with it.
Yeah.
I assume. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Everybody come on down to Texas AuthorCon, July 14th and 15th in Richardson, Texas. It's a free event, but you do need to sign up for an Eventbrite ticket to be eligible for the door prizes. We'll have a link to the Eventbrite site in the description, and we hope to see you there. Thank you again, Richard. It was great to talk
Thank
to
you.
you.
Yeah, it's good
Thank you.
seeing you
Thanks.
again.
You too, and thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing you all in July.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.